They would go on to score 16 runs. So obviously that's been amazing. In the month of June,
every other game they score 16 runs, feels like.
Then we'll win at least half of our games the rest of the way, you would think.
I'll take it.
Now, old Rangers teams, I don't think I could make that guarantee. You scored 16 and you would win. This Rangers team, I feel comfortable. In the month of June, Evan Carter is 11 for 25. That's a batting average of 440. But he also has 3 walks, so his on-base percentage is 500. He has 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and his OPS is 1.380.
Player of the month?
I mean, he's got to be one of the favorites right now, right?
Yeah, it's been really nice to see him play that way. I know, the other day, was it the other day? Maybe, yeah, it was. The other day in the outfield, he was trying to get to a ball and missed, and the ball rolled all the way to center field, or the center field wall, and his speed just carried him to left field. And so the ball was kind of sitting there, and it took a while to get the ball into the infield. But that's the kind of thing, we talk about this a lot. He gets 2 balls that most people shouldn't or can't.
Yeah.
And so because of his speed, he was close enough, and it was like, dang. But most guys probably would have just taken a different angle and gotten it off the wall. But he at the plate, he did. The way he does his expression, Kevin, now is very different because he does it with every pitch.
Yeah.
Instead of turning around and just staring down the umpire, he just kind of stares forward. So I think he's doing better at that. But that was it's definitely nice to see that he's rounding into form. And somebody said comeback player of the year. I know Mike's card collection. He's probably looking at it very happy.
They do.
Now. Can I talk about yesterday's game real quick? I thought there was a very big moment in the game yesterday, and it was, I don't remember exactly which inning it was, maybe the second inning, and the Rangers are up 6-1, but then the bases got loaded, and there were 2 pop-outs. Correa and Byron Buxton, I believe, popped out, and Jeffers struck out, and that was Patrick Corbin with a very good inning to get out of that jam.
Yeah.
Josh Smith had what looked like appeared to be an error. Then a couple of balls got through, and you were like, oh no, is this like, you just scored 6 runs? This is a good thing for you. You're up 6-1 right now. You don't want to be at 6-5.
Sure.
And Corbin was able to get out of it. So as much as scoring 16 runs yesterday was nice, Kevin, we talked about this in the conference room.
Yeah.
Now we're at a point where back in the day, if you scored 16 runs, you were like, man, I hope this is enough. And you probably won 16-11. That's how the Rangers were. And now it's like, wow, we can, a 6-1 game is pretty good, but the Rangers, if they score a lot of runs, you feel very confident in the pitching right now.
No, absolutely. I agree with you on all of that. And you factor in this 16-3 win with the 16-4 win, the Rangers have scored 34 runs in their 3-game series against the Twins.
That was playing Minnesota all the time.
Agreed. That was 5 runs fewer than they had scored in their previous 12 games combined. And it's interesting, too, because Minnesota is not a bad team by any stretch.
No, they're right there. They're right there in the mix of a playoff team and wild card. Kevin, I think that that's a positive sign. Beating a team that's kind of like you, that you kind of feel like you're like that team.
I can see that.
Beating the Dodgers in a series, like you're high off that, right? But you're like, man, maybe we just got them on a bad weekend. But beating Minnesota the way that they did, it's like, and needing to come alive offensively like that, I think that's a thing that I think we can build on this one.
From the 469, I like this. I'll admit, maybe I was wrong about the Rangers. Maybe the offense is back. And we'll probably talk about that next week if hopefully they keep up anywhere near this pace.
Yeah, I need a streak out of them.
Yeah, but then Carter and Berger are just killing it right now. Both guys got sent down. Once brought back up, found their groove. Maybe this Bochy guy knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. But what I wanted to talk about is the idea of getting into your groove right now. So the Rangers are 33-36. Surely a record that we all think is not acceptable and certainly won't get you into the playoffs or maybe even that close to the playoffs. But they've won 4 of their last 5 games. So you hope, maybe you feel that you're starting to get moving. But here's the other part. So starting today, you've got the Chicago White Sox, which you can hear that game right here on 105.3 The Fan. Their next 6 series, that's 18 games. None of those games are against a team with a winning record.
Oh, good.
Now, a couple of them are close, and maybe they'll move it into that spot. But let's say even if they go on a winning streak, they're not taking the world over. But as you speak right now, 6 straight series, 18 straight games, none of them are against a team with a winning record. If you are going to go on a run, I would heartily suggest that now is the time to get it started.
Yesterday after the game, Kevin, as that happened, as I was like, oh man, we've wrapped this one up, baby. This is awesome. It felt great to score 16 runs. I immediately looked at Avery and said, we need to go on a run right now.
Yes.
So, and that was before I even saw the run sheet. So that was nice to know that we're on the same page on this. It is time. I felt like it was time, and I hadn't even looked at the schedule yet. So that's another thing. Then I went and looked at the schedule, and I see it. That's why last night I tweeted out, add in the majors if you want to give me a follow. I think I would like the Rangers to go 10 out of their next 12, because that would be very telling of what to expect in the second half of the season. Because that would be a Rangers team. They're like, hey, we know these teams are beneath us, and we're not even giving them a chance. We are going to murder their pitching. And so that's what I'm hoping to see out of this team is, hey, we found it. We're in this groove. Just nobody was prepared for the second half swing that's about to happen with this Rangers team. And I think doing something like that on the front half right before would be a big step in that direction for their confidence. And Bochy, we talked with him yesterday about the consistency of health in their lineup and why that would help.
Right.
And maybe this could be the trend of, if they stay healthy for a bit, we can see why this offense is better when everybody's together.
I would love to just...
And trusting, like he said, trusting the guy behind you can get you in.
Yes.
Not feeling like you have to do everything, be a hero, because the next guy can if you walk and get on base.
Yes, I know, absolutely. I would love to go on a run where it's just sweep after sweep after sweep. We would all love that. But let's just say you win every one of these series against
2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
Exactly. All of a sudden, you go through that run. That means you were 12-6 in that time. And at 12-6, that would put you 3 games above 500 for the first time since May 17th, I believe. So it's already been coming up on a month since you've been that far above 500. And if you can roll into July, because after that, you have some very important series. Obviously, San Diego has been one of the more tremendous teams in Major League Baseball this year, and the top of that division is just absurd. And then you have the Angels, and then you have the Astros. So bing, 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 you finish out the first half of the season with some very consequential series. So I don't want to be like it's a coast the rest of the way. But this chunk right here that lasts 3 weeks, that's an opportunity for you to pile up the wins.
Oh, it's so significant for this team. And again, the confidence part of it, I think, is what this team has lacked it all season. Jake Berger had to go away for a while and come back to find his groove, and he has found it. And Brett Boone continues to say, I haven't even gotten around to everybody yet.
Yeah.
I'm still working on the progress. I mean, Thad Levine was like, he didn't have the benefit of being there during spring training, which is where a lot of hitting coaches and pitching coaches get their opportunity to build a relationship, understand a player, and lay down the foundation of what they want for the season and those expectations. So he's doing a lot of this on the fly right now, and he still hasn't gotten there. So you would imagine that in the second half, now that they understand what's expected of them, and you're starting to see it too, Kevin. It's not just, yes, we're finally hitting for home runs, and we, at least against Minnesota, but you were starting to see guys driving doubles into right center. You were starting to see guys choke up on the bat and drive one to opposite field with 2 strikes. These different approaches are giving them more competitive at bats, and it's becoming more beneficial because then they're getting into bullpens quicker, which is something they really want to do.
Corey Seager has at least 1 walk in 7 straight games.
And he should continue to draw that kind of attention.
You know he only has hits in 1 of those games?
Really?
And that was the game that we talked about, the first 16-run game. He had two. The first 16-run game a couple of days ago. And that's what I think is kind of crazy and even more encouraging. So you've had this like mini offensive explosion.
And Seager hasn't even found it yet.
Without theoretically your best player.
Which goes to what we discussed earlier this week. It is Marcus Semien. I think Marcus Semien is the straw that stirs the drink. Because as he has gotten hot, the offense has gotten hot.
You know what? And it's funny that you say that because I think it was Josh Smith that also mentioned Evan Carter and his return as having something to do with it. But I want to
go as far as you did because I didn't count the Mariners in my search. I was just looking at the other terrible teams.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Pittsburgh, unless it's a Wednesday, we're fine. And so do we play Pittsburgh on a Wednesday, Kevin? Because we know we can't.
By the way, and I forgot to follow up on that.
Did they win yesterday?
Pittsburgh did win that game on Wednesday. So now they're 10-1. Good news. Your Pittsburgh series, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Sweep that one. Sweep the leg on that one, dude.
And let's go back to this because this is how crazy it is. The Pittsburgh Pirates are 10-1 on Wednesdays this season. On every other day, they're 18-41. How is that even possible?
They've almost won as many games every other day on a Wednesday.
I can't
like it.
I can't understand that
it's
whatsoever.
A weird stat.
It really is. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, and good for the Pirates for winning on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think that I would be very happy with 12-6 over that stretch. The reason I said what I said was because those teams are bad, and I feel like you should sweep a couple of them.
No, I got you.
You should, but I also gave credit that, at some point you lose a little focus and something has to jar you back into reality.